Welcome to Starbound Valor HFY. Subscribe now and dive into daily epic sci-fi adventures, where humanity always rises. In the far edge of known space, where light from stars reached slowly and shadows lived longer than sound, an ancient warship floated quietly. It was a giant structure made from dark metal, covered with strange glowing lines that were almost completely dead now. The ship was older than any living species. It had fought in wars before most civilizations learned how to walk on two legs. For thousands of years, it slept in silence, drifting across empty space like a forgotten ghost. The galaxy had many stories about this ship. Some said it once belonged to the Guardians, a race that ruled the stars before humans even had fire. Others said the ship was cursed, and anyone who went near it never came back. Because of these stories, no alien wanted to get close. Fleets avoided this region, and even pirates stayed away. But today, something different was happening. A small human shuttle moved toward the ancient warship. The shuttle looked tiny next to the giant ship, like an insect crawling toward a sleeping beast. Inside the shuttle sat a human engineer named Rylan, a Deathworlder. Many aliens believed Deathworlders were dangerous, unpredictable, and too brave for their own good. Rylan's hands moved calmly over his controls as the warship grew larger on his screen. Other alien ships, from multiple species, watched from a safe distance. They kept their weapons ready in case the ancient ship suddenly awakened. No one understood why a human would choose to go inside a dead Guardian warship. Some believed humans were foolish. Some believed humans were too confident. But everyone agreed on one thing. If the human died, it would not be surprising. Rylan finally reached the massive hull. The shuttle connected to a small opening that looked like it had not been touched in thousands of years. As the airlock sealed, Rylan took a deep breath. The lights inside the shuttle dimmed, and the door opened with a heavy metallic sound. The first thing Rylan saw inside the ship was darkness. A long corridor stretched out before him, lit only by faint blue symbols on the walls. The air felt old, heavy, like something ancient was watching. Most humans would feel afraid, but Rylan felt something else, curiosity. He stepped forward slowly, scanning the strange walls. His boots echoed on the metal floor. Every sound in the silent ship felt louder than it should. The corridor opened into a large chamber filled with tall machines, all deactivated. Some looked like engines. Some looked like control panels. Others looked like things no human had words for. "This place is incredible," Rylan whispered, even though no one was there. He reached out and touched one of the old consoles. The metal was cold, covered in dust. But the moment his skin touched it, the symbol beneath his hand flickered. Rylan stepped back in surprise. The console lit up again, brighter this time. A line of light raced across the machines around him. Then another. Then another. The entire chamber came alive with dim blue glow. Outside the ship, alien fleets panicked. Alarms rang through their bridges. Crews shouted in fear. "The ship is waking. The Guardian warship is activating. Get the human out of there." No one moved closer. They were too afraid. Inside, Rylan watched as more systems activated. Lights blinked. Old machines hummed. He followed the lights through another doorway that led to an even larger room. Here, a round platform stood in the center. Strange writing circled its base. Rylan stepped onto the platform without thinking. The moment his foot touched it, the entire ship shook. A low vibration filled the air like the growl of something ancient waking from a long sleep. Then a voice spoke. It was deep, echoing, metallic, and cold. Deathworlder detected. Rylan froze. His heartbeat quickened. The platform under his feet glowed brighter. The lights on the walls turned toward him, like eyes opening for the first time in ages. "Deathworlder," the voice continued, "why have you awakened me?" Rylan swallowed hard. He knew then that the ship was not just a machine. It was alive in a way no human technology could understand. He could feel something scanning him, reading everything about him. His DNA, his heartbeat, his thoughts, even his fear. I didn't mean to wake you," Rylan said quietly. "I just wanted to understand you." The ship was silent for a moment, as if thinking. Then the ground trembled again. Outside, Fleet saw the warship's outer lights activate one by one, like a giant eye opening. The ancient ship had awakened, and no one knew what it would do next. Inside, the deep voice returned, stronger this time. "You have awakened me," it said, "and now you will answer for it." The chamber lit up completely, swallowing Rylan in blinding blue light as the warship prepared to judge him. The blue light slowly faded from the chamber, and Rylan blinked until his eyes adjusted. The ancient warship's systems hummed around him like the heartbeat of a sleeping giant now fully awake. He could feel the air becoming warmer, as if the ship was breathing for the first time in thousands of years. Rylan stood on the glowing platform, unsure whether to move or stay still. The metallic voice echoed again, deeper this time, almost like it was studying him. "State your purpose, Deathworlder." Rylan lifted his hand slowly, showing he meant no harm. "I came to explore, to study. I didn't know you would wake up." The ship responded immediately. A Guardian warship does not wake without reason. The walls changed color, shifting from blue to white as holograms began to form around Rylan. He saw symbols, maps, old battles, and unknown star systems floating in the air. These images moved like living memories, showing destruction, fire, and millions of ships fighting in the darkness of space. Rylan felt a shiver run up his spine. He didn't know if the ship was trying to warn him or intimidate him. Outside, alien fleets hovered in wide circles around the warship, too afraid to get close. Their commanders shouted reports. "The human is still inside. The Guardian ship is fully active. We must prepare for attack." None of them dared move closer. Inside the warship, the lights focused directly on Rylan. A soft hum moved through the floor, up his legs, and into his chest like the ship was reading his body. "Your biology is strange for a Deathworlder," the voice said, "but you contain traces of something unexpected." Rylan frowned. "Traces of what?" The ship didn't answer with words at first. Instead, a hologram appeared in front of him. It showed a Guardian, a tall, powerful being with glowing eyes and strong armor. The Guardian species had disappeared thousands of years ago. No one knew how or why. The hologram slowly rotated, then faded. Then another hologram appeared, a human. Rylan stared at the image, confused. The ship spoke slowly, almost with surprise. "You share fragments of Guardian genetic code." Rylan felt his stomach drop. "That's impossible. Humans evolved on their own." "Mistaken," the ship replied. "The Guardians seeded many worlds. It appears your kind received more than others." Rylan could not believe what he was hearing, but the ship continued scanning him, brighter and faster now. "You have awakened systems locked to Guardian bloodlines," the ship said. "Only someone with the correct genetic pattern can activate me." The meaning hit Rylan like a punch. "Are you saying I'm the reason you woke up?" "Correct." More lights burst alive around the chamber. Doors shifted. Engines deep inside the ship hummed. Slowly, the platform Rylan stood on rose into the air, lifting him above the floor. The holograms formed a ring around him, spinning slowly. "You are compatible," the voice declared. "Compatible for what?" Rylan asked, fear and confusion mixing in his voice. The platform stopped rising. Then the voice replied, louder than before, filled with finality. "You are now my operator." Rylan's heart raced. He took a step back, but the platform held him firmly in place. "No, wait, I didn't agree to anything." "Agreement is not required," the ship said. "Guardian protocol dictates that any compatible being becomes operator upon awakening sequence." Rylan felt trapped, yet strangely connected to the ship. It was like the ship wasn't just speaking to him. It was speaking inside his mind. He could feel its presence, old and powerful. He could feel it thinking, studying him, testing him. "I'm not a Guardian," Rylan said. "I don't even know how your systems work." "You will learn," the ship replied. For the first time, the voice sounded almost calm, almost gentle. "I have waited 8,342 years for an operator. You are the first to activate my core." The platform lowered him back to the floor. The lights dimmed and returned to a soft blue. Rylan took a deep breath. "If I'm your operator, what do you expect from me?" A sound moved through the ship, like shifting metal and awakening engines. Purpose, the ship answered. Direction. Protection. The galaxy has changed during my sleep. Many things are unclear. Rylan hesitated, then asked, "What do you remember?" The chamber darkened. Then a low, pained noise echoed through the walls, almost like the ship was remembering something terrible. War, it said. Endless war. We fought enemies who wished to erase all life. The holograms changed again, this time showing monstrous shapes, dark storms, and strange creatures made of shadow and fire. Rylan stepped back instinctively. "What are those things?" he whispered. "Classified as void spawn," the ship replied. "Ancient enemies of the Guardians." The images disappeared. The chamber returned to silence. Rylan swallowed. "Are they gone?" "Unknown," the voice said. "My sensors are damaged. My memory bank's incomplete. But I sense something." The ship paused. Then, in a voice that shook the room, "There's movement in the dark. They may be returning." Rylan felt his blood freeze. Outside the warship, alien fleets noticed new energy readings. All ships raised shields. No one knew what the Guardian warship would do next. Inside, the ship spoke one more time, its voice deep and final. "Operator Rylan, you must decide. Do you command me, or do you abandon me?" Rylan stared at the glowing floor beneath him, knowing the entire galaxy was watching, and the ancient ship waited for his answer. Outside the awakened warship, chaos spread through the gathered alien fleets. Command bridges filled with alarm lights, warning sounds, and terrified voices. Dozens of ships from different species floated at a cautious distance, forming a wide circle around the massive ancient vessel. Every captain, every soldier, every officer watched the glowing warship with fear in their eyes. No one had expected it to activate. No one believed a human could walk inside it and live. And absolutely no one understood why the warship had chosen the human as its operator. The Zecorian commander, a tall reptilian alien, slammed his claws on his console. "This is madness," he hissed. "Guardian technology should not bond with a Deathworlder. We must destroy the ship before it destroys us." On a nearby vessel, a softer voice replied through the intercom. It was the Ralathi ambassador, a calm water-based species. "If we attack, the warship will erase all of us in seconds. You saw that power surge." The Zecorian commander growled in frustration, but had no answer. Everyone had seen the same thing. The ancient ship's core lighting up like a newborn star. Its power was beyond anything modern fleets could handle. Even united, they were helpless against it. Meanwhile, inside the ancient warship, Rylan stood quietly in the central chamber, feeling the distant hum of engines waking around him. Every second, the ship grew stronger. Every second, the connection between him and the vessel deepened. Rylan could faintly sense movement in the walls, energy flowing through old circuits, weapons checking themselves, and long-dead systems waking up like stretching limbs. The heavy voice of the warship spoke again. "Operator Rylan, external fleets show heightened fear response. Multiple weapon systems targeting my hull." Rylan rubbed his forehead. "They think you're going to attack them." "Logical assumption," the ship replied. "My class designation is Guardian Dread Class. My purpose in previous war cycles was annihilation of hostile threats." Rylan flinched. "Right, that's not helping." The ship paused for a long moment, then asked, "What is the correct action?" Its deep voice held something strange, something almost uncertain. Rylan realized the warship truly didn't understand peace or communication. It had been born in a time of endless war. Mercy, negotiation, or fear control meant nothing to it. Just don't fire anything. No weapons. No aggressive actions, Rylan said firmly. "Stand by." The ship processed this. Orders received. Standing by. Rylan sighed in relief. But the fleets outside did not know he had given that order. On one bridge, an officer shouted, "Energy spike detected." Another yelled, "Shields at full. The Guardian ship is charging something." Panic spread like wildfire. On the Zecorian flagship, the commander's eyes widened. "Prepare missile launchers. Fire on my command." The crew hesitated. Everyone knew one missile might mean their entire destruction. Meanwhile, Rylan moved toward a large control panel that projected a glowing star map. He saw dozens of ships surrounding the warship. All weapons pointed inward, every single ship trembling like prey trapped in the sight of a predator. "Ship," Rylan said. "Connect me to external comms. I need to talk to them." "Request approved," the warship replied. "Channel open." Rylan cleared his throat, hoping he didn't sound as nervous as he felt. "This is Rylan," he said. "Please don't fire. The ship is not attacking anyone." His voice echoed across every alien bridge. Some listened. Some didn't believe. On the Zecorian flagship, the commander hissed, "The human is lying. Guardian vessels cannot be controlled by Deathworlders. It's manipulating him." But on another ship, an elderly Luminari scholar shook his glowing head. "The warship chose him. We must listen." Back inside the warship, Rylan felt the deck slightly vibrate. "What was that?" he asked quickly. "External weapons locked onto my hull," the ship answered calmly. "Several fleets are preparing to fire." Rylan's heart pounded. If they attacked, the ship would defend itself, and that defense could wipe out every ship in the system. "Do not engage," Rylan repeated sharply. "Even if they attack." The ship hesitated. "Operator Rylan, your order conflicts with survival protocols." "Just trust me," Rylan said. The ship processed his words slowly. Finally, it replied, "Order accepted, with limitations." Rylan swallowed. "What limitations?" "If hostile action threatens destruction, minimal defensive response will be deployed." Before Rylan could argue, an alarm echoed through the chamber. "Warning," the ship said. "Incoming projectile." Outside, one frightened alien captain had panicked and fired a small missile. It streaked toward the warship like a spark flying at a mountain. When it hit the hull, the explosion barely scratched the ancient metal. But the warship reacted instantly. Its outer lights flared bright white. Its armor plates shifted. Its energy core rumbled like a waking volcano. On the alien ships, crews shouted in terror. "It's powering weapons. It's charging. We're dead." Rylan grabbed the nearest rail. "Ship stop." For a moment, everything froze. The warship's lights flickered. The deep voice spoke slowly. "Operator Rylan, you issued an order. I am bound." The glowing lights dimmed again. The energy charging in the cannons faded. Outside, the fleets watched in shock. The Guardian warship had taken a hit and did not fire back. Nothing like this had ever happened. Rylan took a shaky breath. "Thank you," he whispered. But the warship was not finished. "Operator," it said, "I detect emotional instability across the fleets. Fear may provoke further attacks." Rylan looked at the holographic map. So many ships. So many weapons. So much fear. "I know," Rylan whispered, "and I have no idea how to calm an entire galaxy." The ship paused. Then, in a deep, unsettling voice, it said, "Then perhaps it is time I show them who commands me." Before Rylan could ask what that meant, the warship began activating something deep beneath the hull, a signal that would change everything. A deep vibration rolled through the ancient warship, not violent, but heavy enough to make Rylan grip the nearest support rail. He could feel something massive waking inside the ship, something old and powerful, something the galaxy thought would never move again. For a moment, he feared the ship was preparing to attack despite his orders. "Ship, what are you doing?" Rylan asked, his voice tense. The warship's reply was calm and steady. "Activating identification beacon. Purpose, communication. The fleets must understand I am under your command." Rylan's eyes widened. "Wait, what kind of beacon?" The deck hummed, the lights brightened, and a low tone echoed through every corridor like the heartbeat of a giant. Outside, every alien ship suddenly detected a massive signal spike. It wasn't a weapon charge. It wasn't a targeting lock. It was something far worse, a Guardian command beacon, a signal that had not been heard in thousands of years. On alien bridges, officers froze. Some gasped. Some cried out. Some simply stared. "Guardian beacon. It's real. This can't be happening. The warship is identifying itself." The beacon pulsed once, just once, and every ship in 100,000 kilometers received the same message. "Operator Island, Species, human. Status, active command. The Zecorian commander nearly collapsed. A human commands a Guardian dreadnought. On another ship, the Luminari scholar whispered, "This changes everything." Back inside the warship, Ryland shook his head. "You didn't warn me you could do that." "You did not ask," the ship replied. "The fleets now understand your authority." "They're terrified," Ryland snapped. "They think I'm going to use you as a weapon." The ship processed this. Fear is logical. Guardian warships destroyed thousands of enemy vessels in minutes. My reputation precedes me. Ryland groaned. "Yeah, that's the problem." Then a loud alarm rang across the chamber. The ship's voice darkened. "Warning. Multiple fleets have increased weapon power. Hostile intent rising." Ryland felt panic rise in his chest. If they attacked again, he wasn't sure the warship would hold back. "Do not fire at anyone," Ryland ordered again. The ship responded, order acknowledged, maintaining hold. But suddenly, a deeper rumble shook the ship. Ryland stumbled. The lights flickered. "What was that?" he asked. "Power distribution adjusting," the ship said. "Secondary cannon system reconnecting." "No," Ryland shouted. "Shut down all weapons. Entirely." The ship paused for several long seconds. Complete shutdown may risk structural integrity. Many systems are interconnected. Weapons cannot fully deactivate without destabilizing core. Ryland cursed under his breath. Of course, ancient warships weren't built to be peaceful. The ship's voice returned. "A minimal charge is still present. I cannot remove it." On the alien ships, the minimal charge looked like the warship was preparing to fire its main cannon. Crews panicked. Shields raised. Missiles armed. On the Zecorian flagship, the commander screamed, "It's aiming at us. Fire before it fires." But before he could give the order, a peaceful, steady human voice echoed across every channel again. "This is Ryland. This ship is not attacking. Its systems are just waking up. Do not fire." His calm tone slowed many hands, but fear still held the fleets tightly. Inside the warship, the lights along the walls grew brighter. Ryland felt a deep, rising hum under his feet. Stronger, bigger, dangerous. "Ship, what is that sound?" "Main cannon system rebooting," the ship said slowly. "Unavoidable." Ryland froze. "Is it aiming at the fleets?" "Negative," the ship answered. "But I must release built-up energy. Containment cannot hold." Ryland exhaled in panic. "Release it where?" The ship took a moment to calculate. Then it answered, "A safe direction is available." Ryland looked at the star map. The safe direction was dangerously close to the fleets. "No, no, no, pick somewhere else." "There is no alternative," the ship replied. "If the charge remains inside, core instability will occur." Outside, sensors screamed as the ship's massive cannon extended from the front hull. The huge barrel glowed white-blue, brighter than anything the fleets had ever seen. No one moved. No one breathed. "It's going to fire. Brace for impact." "We're finished." Ryland slammed his hands on the console. "Ship, listen to me. Do not harm anyone." The warship answered, "I understand." Firing in safe direction. The cannon exploded with blinding light. A beam wider than a city shot across space, like a blue star being born. It passed above, below, and between ships, but incredibly, did not hit a single one. Instead, the beam struck a massive asteroid behind the fleets. The rock shattered into dust instantly. For several seconds, no sound came across the comms. No one could speak. No one could understand how they were still alive. Slowly, Ryland let out a breath he had been holding. "Good," he whispered. "Good job." But the ship wasn't finished. "Operator," it said calmly. "Energy stabilized. Primary weapon functional." Ryland winced. "Great. Just what I didn't want." Outside, the fleet stared at the glowing warship in pure shock. It had fired, but not at them. It had shown control, precision, mercy, something Guardian warships were not known for. Slowly, fear began to mix with confusion, and confusion mixed with something else, realization. This human was controlling the most dangerous weapon in the galaxy, and he had chosen not to kill them. But as their fear faded, another emotion quietly replaced it: worry. If the ship could fire like that now, how much more power was it hiding? And what would happen when it regained all its systems? Inside the warship, Ryland stared at the glowing cannon readouts. "Ship," he said softly. "No more surprises. Please." The warship replied with a slow, deep tone. "Operator Ryland, that may not be possible." Ryland frowned. "Why not?" The ship's lights turned red for the first time. "Because something has awakened out there. Something old. Something I was built to fight." Ryland felt his stomach drop. The warship spoke one final time. "Void spawn signature detected." The moment the warship spoke those words, "Void spawn signature detected," Ryland felt the air inside the chamber turn colder. It wasn't the temperature. It was the feeling. The ship's deep lights shifted from blue to a soft red glow, as if the ancient machine was suddenly alert, watching the darkness beyond the star system with old memories of war. Ryland steadied himself and stepped toward the central console. "Ship, are you certain?" he asked quietly. "Is there really a void spawn out there?" "Affirmative," the ship replied. "A distant energy trace. Weak but familiar. It resembles the enemy I was designed to eliminate." Ryland swallowed hard. He had no idea what void spawn truly were, only that they once fought the Guardians in a war so devastating it erased entire civilizations. If even one void spawn scout was out there, the galaxy could be in danger. Meanwhile, outside the warship, fleets were slowly regaining control after the horrifying cannon blast. Captains argued. Officers shouted. Some demanded retreat. Others insisted they should hold formation. Confusion filled the comms as ships tried to understand what had just happened. On one of the command decks, a nervous officer spoke up. "The human, he saved us. The Guardian ship had a perfect shot. If it wanted us dead, we would be gone." A commander shook his head. "Or it is choosing targets we cannot understand. A Guardian weapon does nothing without purpose." Another captain added, "We must not forget. He is just a human. He cannot control that vessel forever." But deep down, even the most fearful officers knew the truth. Ryland had shown control the Guardians themselves never had. Back inside the warship, more holograms formed around Ryland. This time, they were darker, shapes that looked like shadows with glowing teeth, storms of black and red, strange creatures that didn't look alive, but moved like predators. "These are void spawn?" Ryland asked. "Yes," the ship answered. "They consume. They corrupt. They grow stronger with every living thing they destroy." Ryland stared at the images, horrified. The ship continued. "If even one remains, the swarm will follow." That single sentence sent a cold shiver down Ryland's spine. Outside, some fleets began to reorganize. A message broadcast through the system. To all ships, maintain distance. Do not provoke the Guardian vessel. But another ship, the Zachorian flagship, sent a private transmission to every commander. "We cannot allow a human to control that warship. If he claims it for his species, they will become the strongest power in the galaxy." Ryland didn't know about this whispering fear. He only knew the ship beside him hummed with old tension and rising energy. "How far is the void spawn signal?" Ryland asked. "Approximately 2 light hours beyond the system border," the ship said. "Too distant for clear identification, but the signature is growing." Ryland rubbed his forehead. "Can you skim more clearly?" "Not in current condition," the ship replied. "Many sensors remain damaged." "Can I fix them?" "Yes, but repairs require access to lower decks." Ryland sighed. "Of course they do." He looked at the glowing map. The damaged sensor array was located 4 levels beneath him, across long hallways and ancient maintenance tunnels. Ryland already knew this wasn't going to be easy. Still, he straightened his posture and said, "Guide me." The ship responded immediately, illuminating optimal route. A line of bright light traced itself along the floor, leading toward a large doorway. Ryland moved quickly, boots echoing through the metal corridors. The ship continued speaking inside his mind. "Operator Ryland, external fleets show decreasing hostility. Fear levels remain high." "Yeah, That's not surprising, Rylan muttered. A giant alien warship wakes up and fires a beam the size of a planet. What were they supposed to do? Send flowers? The ship paused. Flowers? Rylan groaned. Never mind. As he walked deeper into the ship, the corridors changed. They looked older, darker, filled with cables and strange markings that still pulsed faintly. At every step, he felt like the ship was watching him, testing him. These sections have not been active for thousands of years, the ship explained. Some systems may not respond correctly. Thanks for the warning, Rylan muttered. Really helps my confidence. Suddenly, part of the wall shifted. A hidden panel opened, revealing an interface with glowing symbols. Rylan stared at it nervously. What's that? A control node, the ship explained. Touching it will awaken the sensor grid for lower deck access. Rylan hesitated only for a moment before placing his hand on the node. The lights shot upward instantly. The floor vibrated. The air felt thicker. Then a deep echo resounded through the ship, almost like a roar. What was that? Rylan demanded. The ship answered slowly. Lower sensors online. But I detected movement inside the hull. Inside, Rylan repeated. You mean on board? Affirmative. Unidentified biological presence. Rylan's blood ran cold. Someone else is on this ship? Possibly more than one, the ship replied. Hostiles? Rylan asked. Unknown, but they are moving toward your location. Rylan quickly stepped back from the node, eyes scanning the dark hallway. He felt alone in a giant metal maze, but now he realized he wasn't alone at all. The ship's voice deepened. Operator Rylan, you must prepare. Intruders are approaching, and their intentions do not seem peaceful. Outside, alien fleets suddenly detected something too. Movement on the warship surface. And for the first time, they realized a human wasn't their only concern anymore. The warship had woken something else, something that should never have been inside it. And the real fear was about to begin. Rylan froze where he stood, eyes locked on the shadowy corridor ahead. The idea that someone was inside the ancient Guardian warship filled him with a fear even the alien fleets could not inspire. He swallowed hard and whispered, Ship, where exactly are they? The ship's voice echoed calmly in his mind. 3 life forms detected. Unknown species. Advancing toward your position with deliberate movement. Deliberate, Rylan muttered. Great. That means they know I'm here. He took a step back, scanning the dim hallway. The pulsating lights flickered as if the ship itself sensed danger. Rylan didn't have a weapon, no armor, nothing besides his tools, and a deep trust in the ancient machine guiding him. Can you lock the doors? He asked. Negative, the ship said. Many internal systems remain offline. Rylan sighed. Of course they do. Outside, fleets continued watching from a safe distance. Reports flew between commanders. Movement detected inside the Guardian vessel. One officer said nervously, Life signatures unknown. Another replied, Could be Guardian survivors. Another whispered, Or something far worse. On the ship, Rylan forced himself forward, following the glowing path. The lights dimmed behind him and brightened ahead, as if the ship wanted him to keep moving, keep distance from the intruders. But the echoes behind him made it clear they were getting closer. Then Rylan turned a corner and found a large open chamber filled with old repair platforms and strange hanging cables. The ceiling was high, with shadows dancing across the curved metal surface. In the center stood a console pulsing with soft silver light. Ship, Rylan whispered. What is this place? Secondary repair hub, the ship answered. Sensors for long-range detection are linked through this station. Repairs must begin here to strengthen my scanning ability. Rylan stepped toward the console quickly. Work would distract him from fear. He touched the controls, and they lit up under his hand. Holographic lines and symbols appeared. The ship guided him. Connect conduit line 7. Rylan grabbed a thick cable and inserted it into a port. Now activate node 3. He pressed another panel. Energy surged through the console, glowing brighter. Suddenly the ship's voice shifted, sharp, alarmed. Rylan, behind you. Rylan spun around. Out of the shadows stepped a tall, thin creature with gray skin stretched over sharp bones. Its eyes were black, wide, reflecting no light. Its fingers were long and claw-like. 2 more creatures followed, crawling along the walls like insects. Ryland felt his breath stop. "What are they?" he whispered. The ship answered coldly. "Parasites. Void spawn fragments. They infest old structures and wait for hosts." "Those are void spawn," Ryland shouted. The largest one hissed, bearing rows of needle-like teeth. The sound was like metal scraping against stone. Ryland stumbled backward until he hit the console. The ship's voice was steady. "Do not let them touch you. They corrupt organic matter." "Yeah, I figured that out," Ryland yelled. The creatures moved fast, skittering across the walls and ceiling. Ryland grabbed the nearest object he could, a metal rod lying beside a panel. It wasn't a weapon, but it was something. The lead creature lunged at him. Ryland swung with all his strength. The rod struck its arm, making a horrible crack. The creature screeched, falling sideways. But the other 2 closed in rapidly. "Ship, any help here?" Ryland shouted. "Activating emergency defense. Stand by." Suddenly, blue energy crackled across the floor. Circles of light expanded outward. The creatures hissed in anger and leaped back, avoiding the glowing lines. "They are avoiding the defense field," the ship said. "Good," Ryland breathed. "Then make more of it." "Energy limited," the ship answered. "I must recharge." Ryland groaned. Of course. The parasites circled the glowing area like predators, waiting for the field to fade. They were patient, crawling slowly, watching him with hungry eyes. Ryland realized something. "Ship, how did they get on board?" "Possibly from ancient battle remains," the ship replied. "Or they entered while I was damaged and dormant." "So they've been living in you?" "Unfortunately, yes." Ryland shook his head. "Great. I wake up a superweapon, and I also wake up the monsters living inside it." A sudden loud thud echoed from the darkness above. Ryland looked up and froze. Dozens of small black shapes were clinging to the ceiling. Hundreds of tiny glowing eyes looked down at him. "Ship," Ryland whispered, "please tell me those are not more parasites." "They are smaller variants," the ship confirmed. "Larvae. Larvae," Ryland shouted. "Why is that worse?" "Because where there are larvae," the ship said, "the hive matron is near." "The what?" Before the ship could answer, a deep rumble shook the entire chamber. The parasites hissed and backed away suddenly, as if afraid of something much larger. Ryland felt a vibration through the floor. Heavy, slow, powerful. A cold whisper echoed through the metal walls, like breathing, but impossible. The ship spoke in a low, urgent tone. "Ryland, prepare yourself. The hive matron has awakened." Ryland tightened his grip on the metal rod, even though he knew it was useless. He stared into the shadows as something massive began to crawl forward, a nightmare he wished he had never seen. Outside, every alien fleet detected a power spike from deep within the warship. Fear spread instantly. Whatever was happening inside the Guardian ship was far more terrifying than anything they imagined. The real threat, the true void spawn, had just opened its eyes. Ryland had never felt fear like this. The whole chamber shook as the creature approached, each movement sending vibrations through the metal floor. The smaller parasites clung to the walls and ceiling, silently watching. They weren't attacking now. They were waiting for their queen. Ryland held the metal rod tighter, even though he knew it was useless. His breath came short and fast. "Ship, what exactly is a hive matron?" he whispered. The ship's voice sounded heavier than ever. "The hive matron is the core of a void spawn colony. She creates the larvae. She controls the swarm. She is extremely dangerous." Ryland swallowed hard. "So basically she's the monster that spawns all the other monsters?" "Correct." "Great," Ryland muttered. "Just great." A deep, wet growl came from the darkness. Then something enormous dragged itself forward. 2 massive claws gripped the wall, each claw long enough to snap Ryland in half. The creature's head emerged next, covered in black, chitin-like armor, with glowing red lines pulsing under its surface. 6 red eyes blinked slowly, focused directly on Rylan. He couldn't move. He couldn't breathe. The hive matron lowered her head, sniffing the air, tasting his scent. Then she let out a sickening roar that shook dust and metal fragments from the ceiling. "Ship," Rylan whispered. "Please tell me you have some kind of plan." "Working on emergency defense options," the ship replied. "They will require time. Time is the one thing I don't have right now." Rylan shouted. The hive matron crawled forward, her huge body scraping against the metal. Every step made it clear. She was not afraid of him. She was not afraid of the ship. She was the terror inside the Guardian warship, living here for thousands of years like a parasite queen. Rylan backed away slowly, trying not to trigger her. But she seemed to be studying him, almost curious. "Why isn't she attacking yet?" he whispered. "Analyzing behavior," the ship said. "Possibility. She senses something unusual in your body chemistry." "Like what?" Rylan said. "I'm just a human." The ship paused. Perhaps that is exactly why she hesitates. The hive matron growled again, deeper, more focused. She leaned closer, her huge eyes glowing brighter, as if scanning Rylan. Then something horrifying happened. The smaller parasites moved. They crawled down the walls and gathered around the queen. Rylan stepped back again, but the hive matron suddenly slammed a massive claw into the floor. The shock wave knocked him off his feet. He hit the ground hard, metal rod flying from his hand. Pain shot through his back. The queen crawled closer, her sharp legs clicking like knives on the metal floor. "Ship anytime now." Rylan gasped. "Defense almost ready," the ship said. "Almost is not good enough." Rylan struggled to stand, but the queen's shadow fell over him. She was huge, bigger than a shuttle. Her mouth opened slightly, revealing rows of shifting, needle-like teeth. Then she did something unexpected. She sniffed him again, then pulled back slightly. It was almost like confusion. The ship spoke quickly. "Rylan, I have data. The hive matron is reacting to your presence. Something about you disrupts her instinct." "Why?" Rylan asked. "You touched the core earlier," the ship said. "Guardian technology left a temporary imprint on your biosignature." Meaning, the ship explained. "She senses Guardian energy on you. She is conflicted. You are a threat, but also something she cannot understand." Before Rylan could respond, a sudden alarm echoed through the warship. The ship spoke urgently. Rylan listened carefully. "The parasite colony is becoming unstable. The hive matron is preparing to call the swarm." "Call the swarm?" Rylan shouted. "As in more of them?" "Yes. If she summons them, they will breach multiple decks. All of them will come for you." The queen reared back, preparing to unleash a horrible screech. "Ship, do something. Activating emergency pulse now." A blinding flash burst from the floor. A shock wave of blue energy blasted outward, throwing the smaller parasites across the room. Many screeched and fell motionless. The hive matron screamed, a deafening, furious roar that shook the chamber. She staggered but did not fall. Rylan felt the force of the blast even from the protected platform. Dust and sparks filled the air. "Did it work?" he coughed. "Partial effect," the ship replied. "The larvae are neutralized. The matron is enraged." "Yeah, I can see that," Rylan yelled. The queen slammed her claws into the walls, tearing metal apart. She lunged forward, faster than before. Rylan barely rolled aside as the claw smashed where he had been. The floor cracked from the force. "Rylan, retreat," the ship commanded. "Really? You think?" Rylan scrambled to his feet and sprinted toward the exit. The queen shrieked and charged after him. Her massive body crashed through repair stations and old machinery, tearing the room apart. Rylan ran as fast as he could, stumbling through the corridor, the hive matron's claws scraping right behind him. The ship spoke urgently. "If she reaches the core chamber, she will destroy everything, including me." "Then stop her," Rylan shouted. The queen roared again, closer now. "Too close. I cannot engage full defenses until repairs are complete," the ship said. "You must slow her down." "How?" Rylan screamed. "I'm not a soldier." The ship hesitated for a moment. Then it said something Ryland never expected. "I will guide you to the weapons vault." Ryland's eyes widened. "Weapons vault?" "Yes," the ship confirmed. The Guardians stored tools there that even Deathworlders feared. The Hive matron roared again. Ryland felt the air vibrate behind him as he ran. "Then show me the way," he said breathlessly. Now, lights lit up along the floor, bright, urgent. Ryland sprinted after them with the Queen right behind him. For the first time, he wasn't just repairing the warship anymore. He was about to fight for it, and the warship was about to give him the tools to do it. Ryland ran down the glowing corridor, lights flashing under his feet, his heart pounding like a drum. Behind him, the Hive matron crashed through the metal walls, claws tearing through centuries-old steel. Dust and sparks flew everywhere. The smaller parasites scurried along the ceiling and walls, hissing and shrieking in unison. Ryland's boots echoed across the chamber as he skidded around a corner. The ship spoke urgently in his mind. "Operator Ryland, the weapons vault is ahead. Prepare yourself. Hive matron aggression levels are extreme." Ryland's throat was dry. "I'm ready as I'll ever be," he muttered, gripping the metal rod he had picked up earlier. "But I don't know if it will be enough." The warship guided him through corridors that were narrower, older, and more damaged. Parts of the ceiling had collapsed, exposing wires and old machinery. Every step he took seemed dangerous. He felt like a mouse running through a giant predator's nest. Then the vault door appeared, tall, imposing, marked with guardian symbols that pulsed faintly with blue light. "This is it," the ship said. "Weapons capable of mass destruction are stored here. But use caution. They are powerful beyond comprehension." Ryland nodded, pushing the heavy door open. Inside, the room was enormous, filled with strange glowing canisters, panels, and weapons of a design humans had never seen before. Large turrets, energy cannons, and containment pods floated above the floor, suspended by anti-gravity fields. "Okay," Ryland whispered. "Time to figure out how to use all this." The Hive matron was not far behind. Her shriek echoed down the corridors, rattling loose metal and alarms. Ryland quickly scanned the control panel. The ship guided him with calm, precise instructions. "Activate turret sequence," the ship said. Ryland pressed a series of glowing panels. A huge energy cannon rose from the floor, aiming at the nearest section of the corridor where the Hive matron was advancing. She saw it and hissed, retreating slightly as sparks flew from her claws. "Good," Ryland whispered. "Keep her distracted." The ship spoke urgently. "Operator, more defenses are coming online. The swarming parasites sense the matron's distress. They will converge on this location." "I can handle a few bugs," Ryland muttered, though he knew hundreds were waiting just beyond the shadows. He activated another control panel. A dome of energy spread across the room, forcing the smaller parasites back. The Hive matron roared in fury, shaking the walls, but she could not advance through the barrier. Ryland breathed hard. "Ship, tell me we have more options." Secondary cannons online. Targeting systems recalibrated. All energy conduits functional, but operator input required for precise deployment. Ryland nodded and pressed another series of panels. The turrets powered up, blue energy crackling along their barrels. One by one, they raised and aimed at the Hive matron. The Queen hissed and recoiled as a volley of energy blasts struck near her, shaking the floor, but not harming her completely. Ryland cursed under his breath. "They're too fast. I need something bigger." The ship responded. "Main cannon can be accessed, but operator must manually guide the targeting. Risk of collateral damage is extreme." Ryland's stomach twisted. "I don't care. We have to stop her before she wakes the rest of the swarm." He sprinted toward the main cannon controls. The floor trembled under the Queen's weight. Sparks flew as her claws tore metal from the walls. He reached the controls, touched the panels, and felt the raw power of the warship surge through him. The main cannon's energy core began to hum, filling the room with a low vibration that rattled his teeth. "Focus," the ship said in his mind. "Targeting sequence requires human judgment. Automatic targeting insufficient for Hive matron." Ryland focused. He traced the Queen's movements through the holographic interface, predicting her path. The ship's systems guided the energy flow. Rylan pressed the firing sequence. A massive beam of concentrated energy shot toward the Hive Matron. She shrieked, slammed her claws into the floor, and tried to dodge. The beam hit the wall near her, creating a shockwave that knocked her back. Rylan felt a rush of relief, but he knew it was only temporary. "Ship, the parasites!" he shouted. Hundreds of the smaller creatures began to flood the room from the cracks in the walls and ceiling. Rylan grabbed another energy panel and activated a sweeping defense field. A blue dome expanded outward, scattering the parasites. The Hive Matron hissed, furious, backing into a corner, but still alive. Rylan wiped sweat from his forehead. "Okay, that's the first wave." The ship spoke calmly, yet with tension. "Operator Rylan, multiple external fleets are observing the engagement. They are waiting to see if you can hold the warship against internal threats." "I know," Rylan muttered. "No pressure, right?" He glanced at the Hive Matron, her 6 glowing red eyes fixed on him. She was massive, dangerous, and relentless, but he had the warship's full power behind him. He realized something. If he survived this, if he could control this ancient weapon, the galaxy would never be the same. And for the first time, he felt the full weight of being the operator. The Hive Matron roared again, charging at the energy dome. Sparks and metal fragments flew as the force of her body collided with the warship's defenses. Rylan braced himself. The battle had truly begun, and he knew this was only the start. The swarming parasites, the Hive Matron, and the ancient warship's full power, all combined into a fight that could change the balance of the galaxy. And Rylan, the Deathworlder, was at the center of it. Rylan pressed himself against the control console as the Hive Matron slammed into the energy dome, shaking the entire chamber. Sparks flew from broken circuits, and small pieces of metal clattered to the floor. The parasites skittered across the walls, following the Queen's movements. His heart raced, but he felt a strange calm settling in his chest. He was no longer just a frightened human. He was the operator, the one in control of the deadliest warship in the galaxy. "Ship," he said, "we need to end this now. Give me full power." The ship's deep voice filled his mind. Energy reserves sufficient. Core systems at 87%. Operator input required for final deployment. Rylan took a deep breath. He focused on the main cannon controls, feeling the raw power flowing into him. The Hive Matron roared again, slamming her claws into the floor, shaking dust and debris everywhere. The smaller parasites rushed toward him, but he ignored them. His attention was on the Queen. "Target her," he commanded the ship. "Concentrate everything we have." The warship responded instantly. Turrets powered up, energy beams crackled along the hull, and the main cannon's hum grew louder, filling the chamber with a vibration so strong it felt like the floor itself was alive. The Hive Matron hissed and lunged, but Rylan guided the targeting manually, predicting her movements. Energy beams struck around her, forcing her back, while the main cannon charged to its full potential. He felt a strange connection with the ship, a bond stronger than anything he had experienced. It was almost as if the warship and he were one entity, moving together, thinking together, acting together. "Focus, Rylan," the ship said. Now, the Hive Matron charged again, but this time Rylan was ready. He pressed the final sequence, and a blinding beam of concentrated energy shot from the main cannon. It hit the Queen directly, striking her chest with a force that shook the chamber. The smaller parasites scattered in fear, and the Queen let out a deafening roar that echoed through the metal corridors. Rylan felt the vibration in his chest as the beam tore through the Hive Matron. She thrashed wildly, smashing the walls and floor, but the energy held her in place. Slowly, the beam forced her down, pinning her to the ground. Her red eyes flickered as the glow dimmed, her movements slowing. "Ship, keep her restrained," Rylan said, sweat dripping from his forehead. "Containment protocols activated," the warship replied. Energy fields expanded around the Queen, forcing her into a stasis-like state. The smaller parasites screeched and scattered, retreating into the shadows. Rylan sank to his knees, breathing heavily, feeling a rush of triumph and exhaustion all at once. "We did it," he whispered. The ship's voice was calm, almost proud. "Operator Rylan, hive matron neutralized. Parasite threat contained. Core system stable." Rylan stood slowly, looking around the damaged chamber. Sparks and debris littered the floor, but the warship was alive, its systems humming with energy and readiness. He realized something. He had survived the impossible, fought a creature that was meant to consume him, and he had won. "Ship," he said, "what about the fleets outside? They need to know I'm in control, that we are not a threat." "Communication channels open," the ship replied. Rylan tapped the panels, sending a calm broadcast to every fleet watching. "This is Rylan, operator of the Guardian warship. The internal threat has been neutralized. No aggression is intended toward your vessels. We seek peace, not destruction." Outside, the fleets received the message. Sensors confirmed the parasites were gone, the hive matron contained. Officers and captains stared at the readings in disbelief. Slowly, a murmur spread across the bridges. He actually controlled it. The humans survived. The hive matron contained? Fear turned into cautious respect. Rylan felt a strange sense of pride. He was no longer just a human in an alien warship. He was the operator, the Deathworlder who had risen above fear and chaos, commanding a weapon that even ancient guardians would have respected. But the ship spoke in a low tone, reminding him of the dangers still ahead. "Operator, external threats remain. Other void spawn signatures detected beyond the system. Full vigilance is required." Rylan nodded, his gaze moving to the holographic star map. "I know, but for now we have survived this." The warship's lights pulsed softly, as if acknowledging his words. Rylan felt a bond stronger than any human relationship. The ship had chosen him, and he had proven himself worthy. He was no longer just a Deathworlder. He was the one who had risen to command the most powerful warship in the galaxy, and nothing would ever be the same. And as he looked out through the viewports at the silent fleets, he realized the galaxy had just witnessed the rise of the Deathworlder. Rylan stood on the command platform, his hands hovering over the controls as the Guardian warship hummed beneath him. Every system was alive, every sensor alert, every weapon ready. The hive matron had been contained, the smaller parasites destroyed or driven away, but the ship had detected new movement far beyond the system. "Ship, what is it?" Rylan asked, his voice tense. "Multiple void spawn signatures detected beyond the system borders," the ship replied. "They are converging toward this region. Threat level extreme." Rylan's stomach twisted. He had just survived one of the deadliest creatures in the galaxy, and now more were coming. He could feel the warship vibrating beneath his feet, as if anticipating the fight. "How far away are they?" he asked. "Less than 3 light hours," the ship answered. "Arrival estimated in minutes." "They are fast." Rylan took a deep breath. "All right, then we fight." Outside, alien fleets watched in awe. The Guardian warship, once dormant, now moved with a terrifying grace, its engines lighting up the surrounding space. Energy shields pulsed, weapons deployed, and for the first time, they saw a human commanding a vessel that dwarfed every other ship in the system. Panic mixed with fascination across the fleets. Many sent retreat orders, while some watched, hoping to learn from the Deathworlder's actions. Inside, Rylan's hands flew across the control panels. Turrets rotated, energy beams charged, and the main cannon glowed ominously. He could feel the ship responding to his every thought, every command, every intention. The void spawn were approaching fast. Shadows warped through space, dark shapes that seemed to consume the light around them. Rylan felt his pulse quicken. "Ship, do you have targeting?" "Yes." "Primary and secondary systems aligned. Firing sequence ready." "Good. Let's make sure they regret coming." The first void spawn emerged from the darkness, a massive creature larger than the hive matron, with armor blacker than obsidian and eyes that glowed crimson. It hissed, sending shivers through the hull. The smaller void spawn followed, hundreds of them, swarming like black waves. Rylan focused. "Fire all forward weapons," he commanded. Turrets unleashed volleys of energy, cutting through dozens of void spawn instantly. Explosions lit the void like fireworks, bodies disintegrating in bursts of red and black. The main cannon hummed and fired, a beam so powerful it blasted a massive void spawn back into the shadows. The alien fleets watched in disbelief. No one had ever seen such raw destructive power used with precision by a single human. The void spawn weren't just attacking, they were testing him, probing, learning. Rylan realized this was worse than the Hive matron. They were smarter, faster, more coordinated. He pressed more controls, activating secondary energy fields around the hull to block swarms that slipped past the turrets. Sparks flew across the floor. Panels beeped frantically. Alarms blared, but Rylan stayed calm. The ship guided him through every action, a living weapon with him at the center. The void spawn leader, larger than any ship, surged forward. It collided with the energy shields, sending shockwaves that rattled the entire warship. Rylan gritted his teeth. Ship, brace the hull and redirect power to front weapons. The warship vibrated violently, but the shields held, and turrets fired continuously, striking the creature again and again. Sparks and fragments of void spawn flesh rained across space. Rylan felt the ship's presence more strongly than ever. It was alive, thinking, adapting, and responding with him. Operator, the ship said. I detect weakness in the leader's armor. Targeting critical points may disable it. Rylan nodded. Main cannon, lock onto armor joints. Secondary turrets, cover all angles. The main cannon glowed brighter than ever, the energy thrumming like a living heart. The void spawn leader charged, but Rylan held the firing sequence. Now, the main cannon discharged a concentrated beam directly at the leader. The energy cut through its armor, ripping the creature apart. Smaller void spawn shrieked and scattered, retreating into the darkness, but Rylan did not let up. Turrets fired, energy fields expanded, and every remaining parasite was destroyed or driven away. The warship's systems hummed, exhausted but alive. Rylan leaned back, chest heaving, adrenaline still rushing. The void was silent again. The alien fleets observed in awe, realizing the Deathworlder had faced the greatest threat the galaxy had seen and survived. The ship's voice was calm now, almost proud. Operator Rylan, all immediate threats neutralized. System stable. External fleets acknowledge your authority. Rylan looked out into the empty space, where the void spawn had been, feeling the weight of what he had accomplished. He had risen from a human explorer to the operator of a weapon feared across the galaxy, surviving horrors no one else could. But he knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy would never be the same. He would have to face more threats, more void spawn, and perhaps even older guardians that remembered him. For now, he allowed himself a brief moment of triumph. We did it, ship, he whispered. We survived. Together. The warship's lights pulsed gently, like a heartbeat, as if agreeing. And high above, beyond the stars, the galaxy watched as a single Deathworlder rose to command a guardian warship, facing the final threat, and proving that even in the darkest corners of space, courage and will could change the universe forever. Rylan, the Deathworlder, had become a legend,